All right, guys, I finally get to share with you the white dial Sinn 104. So this is not a special edition or limited edition or anything like that. It's just a great example of the Sinn 104. There's a ton of different models you can get that are just regular stock models. And then there's a special edition occasionally released here and there. Like I was just over on Watch Buys and I noticed they had a white dial but in the matte case. I didn't even know that was a limited edition one. It's already out. It's already sold out and everything. But I personally like the polished case. But that's just my personal preference. But anyway, if you're not familiar, for some reason, if you're not familiar with the Sinn 104, let's cover some dimensions real quick. So you're looking at a 41 millimeter case, 47 lug to lug. You can see that nice sharp angular turn down of those lugs. So that's 47. Thickness is about 12 millimeter, has a double domed sapphire crystal with AR coating. I believe the AR coating is on top and bottom because the crystal pretty much disappears. It's a very, very good anti-reflective coating on this guy. 20 millimeter lug width here. You can get this with a H-link bracelet or a fine link bracelet. The fine link one is going to have butterfly clasp. Hate that. I still haven't tried that bracelet, so maybe someday I will. I just don't like the butterfly clasp. And then on the H-link bracelet, the clasp is, well, they need to come up with a new clasp. Maybe even a whole new bracelet. Maybe it's time Sinn redoes the bracelet. I don't know that they really need to do anything to the watch. The Sinn 104 is already a home run classic design and a safe bet. The crown size on this is, I think, about 6 millimeter, maybe a touch under 6 millimeter. You know, you have your day date. That's also cool. You don't have that on a lot of Swiss or German watches. It's primarily just like date only. So it's kind of cool that you have day date. I believe this is the Sellita SW220. I think that's what movement's in it. I tried to zoom in on the backside of the movement, which you can actually see because it's a display case back. And that information is like tucked way up in there. So it is there. You don't really see that information openly on the website on Watch Buys as the authorized dealer in the US. So you can see here some information, anti-magnetic, Sinn, and some German words I can't pronounce. Really nice leather strap that it comes on. So if you wanted to save some money and get it on the leather strap, they actually just raised their price. The price was, I have the receipt right here for it. It was like $13.30. So they just raised it $110. So now it is $1,440 for this exact model. And then it's more for the bracelet one. I forgot to even look at that. I was just looking at this one, but I kind of am leaning more towards, after owning a few of them on bracelet, I think I would maybe just do some different straps and maybe get a really nice mesh for it or something. I'm sure there's some other bracelets that would maybe fit it. I'm not really sure. I haven't done a ton of homework on it. The bigger issue, I think, is because you have a full polished case, you need a full polished bracelet, or at least a lot of polishing on the bracelet versus brushing. So I think maybe a stabe mesh tapering. Actually, I don't think they taper on the 20 mil, but a full polished one, that would look killer. I think that would be the way to go. So you have a countdown bezel on this instead of a die bezel, so the numbers are done the other way. And basically the way that works, in case you're not familiar, you can turn the dial either way, or the bezel, excuse me. The dial better not turn. You move the bezel. So everybody used the example, if you go to a restaurant, the waiter, waitress, whatever, or hostess tells you it's a 20-minute wait. So you put the 20 at the minute. When the minute hand hits the pip, it's been 20 minutes. There you go. So that's the example a lot of people seem to use. So I used it too. Why not? So on this white dial one, because I've had it seems like just about every other color here, you can see it's got a little bit of a gloss to it. And then you have those printed on indices and the handset, of course, they have a little bit of like a yellowish tinge to it. Now that's going to be the lume that they chose, but it also adds a little more depth to the dial. It breaks it up and gives it that tri-color appeal that I actually really like on a lot of watches. I liked it on the blue Sinn because it was basically a tri-color. You had, you know, white on the bezel and you had white outline hands, but then you had patinaed or cream colored hand lume and indices. This was on the blue one. and then you have the blue. So it was basically a tricolor. Well, you have the tricolor here as well. So you have the black, white, and then of course the yellowish cream colored. So that's a tritone. I like it. I dig it. So there's a closer look at the case or the movement. You can see it has the blued screws and everything like that. It's a little bit upscale of the movement. It's, I don't know what grade it is, but it's a nicer grade. They usually perform very good on the time grabber. So let's pop this guy on wrist. I think this is, I've been wearing the Tudor still. In case I didn't mention, my buddy Mike, who is a Patreon member, lent this in. So let me pop this on wrist, and then I want to show it next to the white dialed Omega that I have, and talk about that real quick, because this watch here is the perfect watch for so many people. Whether your wrist is like 6.5 all the way up to like 7.5 or whatever, the Sinn 104 is like just a Goldilocks of a watch. It fits everybody, and it works on every strap. And now they have like a ton of colors. I'd like to see the anthracite dial, the regular blue dial. They all look great. I kind of like the ones with the Arabic indices, but then when I see this one with like they call it the eye indices, basically they're just little eyes all the way around, or regular indices, it looks so clean. I think because the printed on marks around there, or sub-seconds, just kind of add just enough contrast to the what's going on with the simplicity of the dial. It looks great. And this strap is very good. I have seen even some of these straps with heavy wear on them, and they still look great. So obviously you guys know I'm a white dial fan. Here it is next to my ceramic Seamaster. Now this one's a 42 mil by like 50, and this one's 41 by 47. So a little bit smaller overall. I kind of still am preferring the larger watches, but I would hate to see a Sinn 104 in a larger size. The size that it is perfect. Unfortunately, I would love to buy this white dialed one, because Mike is actually selling it, and we'll, one of my patrons is going to pick it up, so don't email me on it. But with owning the Omega, I feel like I can't coexist with this one. And I don't know that I can buy another 104. I don't know how many I've had now, at least 3, I think. And every time I sell them. So I don't know what it's lacking. There's something lacking with the 104 for me personally that doesn't allow me to keep it. And I don't know what it is, because it's a phenomenal watch. And I know a ton of people that absolutely love them, and they are like keepers in their collection. So if that's you, I'm envious, because it should be a keeper. So let's kill the lights and check out the lume on this. Even in low light, this thing looks good. And there you go. It actually has good lume too. I try to block that 3D thing there. So obviously the hands and the pip are gonna be a little bit brighter, just because they have a little more real estate than those printed on indices. But the lume is still really good, guys. Totally legible, no problems. All right, thanks Mike for sending this in, and thank you guys for watching. See you in the next vid.